All right, we back. That was terrible. I barely ever do that, but you know what it is. My expert opinion show, the greatest show in the world. Hit that like, hit that share, let everybody know you in here. Don't cost you no paper unless you's a mother. Hater. He's gonna skip over the beatboxing.
Yeah, no.
All right, everybody acting special. Shout out to my man, Champ.
How you doing, Michael?
Blessed as hell, King. Everything on the incline. What's up with you?
Everything is good, man. Shout out to Source Worker, Conway the Machine for gracing the cover, the cover of YKTV magazine. For all the individuals that's holding people down who are incarcerated, make sure you go on yktvmagazine.com to get a copy for your incarcerated loved ones. It's the entertainment they need at this time and information.
Okay. Shout out to Sha Summers. I see you out there doing your numbers, killing it on it, killing those freestyles. Keep it pushing. We see you, Sha Summers. Shout out to Chastity, keeping the machine rolling behind the scenes. Y'all don't know, but we know because we really should know. Shout out to the gang.
Salute,
of course, salute everybody who's rolling.
Salute.
Gat, Murder.
What's up, MECC?
My Aries brother.
My Aries brother, what's good?
Bless, man. How you holding?
I'm good, man. Brooklyn Way episodes. Go check them out. Tap in. The hottest web series in the world. That's a big fact. Go tap in, man. Subscribe to the Brooklyn Way TV right now.
Sean Bigger, man of God.
Welcome back, Bigger.
Yeah,
miss you, brother. Miss you, brother.
What's going on, everyone? Much love. You know my message. I'm glad to be here. Every time I'm able to speak to you, give a message to the children and the people, I'm honored.
And just to let y'all know, man, Hoffa, you know, you got something going on right now, but he will be back. We're here to serve y'all as y'all need it.
Yeah, we couldn't let this go by. This is an interview that had to happen. Shout out to my man Raj for pulling it through. One time for the king. Salute. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we talk a lot of hip hop stuff up here. Word classic is overused and thrown around. We talk about legends, it's overused and thrown around. But what happens if we came across somebody who actually fit the criteria for all of the above? Right? Mm-hmm. Bold statement, especially today in such an oversaturated market, but bold statement. What if we ran across a rapper who actually has something to say? What if we ran across a rapper who actually showed you what the difference between a rapper and an MC was? And he was able to do both at the same time. Thankfully, I know a guy, and he's here. Shout out to Killer Mike. Killer Mike in the building.
Man, honor to be here, pleasure, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes. Love and respect the man for bringing me out, you know, wishing him the best on everything.
Who knew bumping into you at a strip club all those many months ago would have you in here right now?
Yeah, I figured I'd be back. I knew what I had coming, so, you know, I'm a fan of the show, so.
That's what's up.
I've met you in my neighborhood, though. People here strip club, they think, we was just in my neighborhood. The club's been in my neighborhood since the 80s. I grew up like maybe 8 streets behind it. I just bought my daughter a house in that neighborhood, so.
Nice.
See, I think, Mike, I don't know if people get the level of duality you run around with.
Yeah.
Like 1 minute you speaking at Congress, next minute you at Blue Flame, next minute you opening up businesses, the next minute you blowing smoke with the homies, the next minute you mentioning something righteous on the album and building an altar to your mother and your grandmother. But then after that, you know, you letting people know that you believe in the Second Amendment. Like there's so many different facets that a lot of people would think this ain't right. You can't be all these different things. See, this is hypocritical.
Yeah, I can be me. That's what I can be. You know, I can't. You know, I don't know what other people judge as hypocrisy is on them. That neighborhood that you grew up in, on that street is the Blue Flame Lounge. That was started by a family whose father, you know, was reported to be a gentleman of the underworld. My father was a young rookie police officer and locked that man up for being drunk. That man, my father said that man was the most gentlemanly man he had ever met. Just sat there, told him, young man, get me to my cell, took off his diamond ring, sat there, crossed his legs and waited for his attorney to pick him up. And they had to return the 30 grand they found on him. So, you know, that club is right down the street from St. Paul's Catholic Church, where all the smart girls went. And right down the street from my elementary school, which was one of the best. And that family gave as much to the Civil Rights Foundation as any legitimate family. So, you know, for me, in the neighborhood I grew up in, the preachers lived there, the teachers lived there, the sinners lived there, the bootleg man lived there, the numbers man lived there, and all these people had a firm influence on me. You know, I was Betty's boy, I was niece's son, you know what I mean? So for me, I absorbed all the good I could out of everybody. Everybody from the people who did carpentry and electrician work, my grandma sent me out with them. They all came back, said the same thing. They said, he's a hell of a talker. He could be a great salesman, but he ain't much for work, Betty. So he got something to do with his mind. You know, I had been trying to sneak in the blue floor since I was 15. You know, by the time I got in there, you know, me and Sleepy, we, you know, just kept coming. And before you know it, we, like our uncles before us, we, you know, we became stable. So for me, I don't see hypocrisy and duality. Black people have been who we are. Harriet Tubman had to talk just as fluently to the people in the fields as she talked to people on Congress. Frederick Douglass had to have the ability to talk to the people picking cotton, just like he had to talk to diplomats in Ireland when he was trying to explain why this country. So for me, I embrace being a black person that fits the totality of the spectrum. I'm as comfortable talking to the junkie in front of the store as I am sitting in front of any leader in government and talking, because I'm just a human being.
Do you feel, let me ask you something. I totally agree with that. Do you feel like those different elements inside of the community is a vital asset in young black boys being raised in these impoverished neighborhoods? They've
been to me, but I never said I grew up in an impoverished neighborhood.
Right.
Yeah, I don't give you that same shtick. You know, I didn't have the most, but what I had was a 900 square foot house. I had two grandparents that was 54 and 44 when I was born, and they was determined. And black people need to, like when niggas say I came from nothing, like no you didn't. You came from your mama, and you came from your father, and they was something.
Right.
If they wasn't nothing but in love when they made your ass. So you know it gets over romanticized. I know somebody who came from dirt for real. My partner, my A&R, like little brother, he came from Flint, Michigan, and an upgrade was Little Rock, Arkansas.
Right.
And yet he sit there before you, a father, you know what I mean, a good man to a woman, one of the most gentleman guys ever met. So if he don't use banging in Little Rock and Flint, Michigan for an excuse, I'm not gonna use the West Side of Atlanta for an excuse.
Right.
Everybody was together, just like Harlem during the Harlem Renaissance. You had poor black people, rich black people, smart black people who didn't have all the sorts. You had gangsters, you had politicians. If you watch Godfather Harlem, you get to see well, imagine Harlem as a whole city.
Right.
That's exactly what Atlanta is. My grandmother could get to any mayor within 3 to 6 phone calls because she was active in her community. They communicated, collaborated with other communities, and the mayor needed votes. And when it came time to get extra 1,000 votes, you're gonna go to 2 places, the church and the strip club. And I would say barber and beauty places, because that's where your extra 200, 300 votes come from. So what I learned as a child was just how to make sure you shake hands with everybody and find some commonality. So what other people call hypocrisy, it's because they feel inferior if they're not on a team. Other people want to be on a team because they want their team to win. You know, I want my team to win. I want my candidate to win. I want my church to win. I want my religion to win. I just want black folks to win.
Well, that was my next question. Like, where did we lose that commonality? Everybody, where we stopped judging.
Yeah.
Right. My grandfather was a hustler. I never drank or smoked in my life.
Yeah.
Nobody ever called me a square because of it. And if they did, I just considered them, well, I'm ignoring you because that's dumb.
Yeah.
Right. I've never understood why we feel the need as people to judge each other for the different roles and different paths we take.
You act like your masters act.
Say it again?
You act like your masters act. Yeah, it's not intrinsically in black folk to look down because everybody got a purpose. My grandmama went to church every Sunday, but the numbers man, she played the numbers on Monday, so she had to know the numbers man too. And the number man didn't want no niggas like us walking in there. He'd rather the church ladies be walking in the club. Because if she walking there with a book full of numbers, the police ain't gonna stop her. We come in with these big ass gold chains and shit, jumping out of the car. The police gonna know, hey, what you doing? let me see what you got. Well, I would take that. And then you leave, you that holding the goddamn stash, you owe the numbers man.
Right.
So everybody has that in our community. I think it's, to me, we criticize ourselves publicly too much. It ain't nobody's business what black people do right or wrong. It ain't nobody's business but ours. So, you know, fuck all that. I ain't judging black folks across the line. If that's how you feel about me, fine. But I've matured to this. You know, that was the time where I remember I had first discovered autobiography of Malcolm X, and you know, Message to the Black Man, my most honored Elijah Muhammad. I came home to my granddad. My granddad was born in 1922. And I'm not even thinking to myself, he is the same age as some of these organizations. I'm talking to him, I'm rallying, you know, man, I dare you, and you know, all that old shit. I say, man, I ain't eating pork no more. You know, this is the devil's in it. I gave him, you know, there's nothing wrong. My grandfather grew up, he could I give you some context. My grandmother, they had a farm, and my granddad looked at them like he considered them wealthy because they got potato sack draws and fruit for Christmas. My granddad said, it wasn't no Christmas for me at all. He had 2 little sisters and a mom. He worked in a sawmill at 8 years old. So for him, if a hog could get killed, a hog could get ate, like he said, because the alternative was starvation. So I remember giving him this whole thing. He told me, he said, man, if it wasn't for the hog, you wouldn't have had no Elijah Muhammad. I said, what? He said, yeah, man, the boy from Georgia. And when I thought about it, I said, well, goddamn, I ain't never seen nobody from Georgia not eat a hog. You know, not trying to validate the pig the most honorable, but just to say, my grandfather was telling me it comes in phases. Right now, it's new to you. It's a phase to you. He never discouraged me from learning from the most honorable Elijah Muhammad's readings, never most noble duality, Marcus Garvey. He never deterred me, but he always made sure I was grounded in understanding that you a black Southern man. And there's some things that are going to be nuanced, that are not going to be that's not going to be understood by the greater world, but it don't take nothing from you. You know what I'm saying? So I got that. Him having a 3rd grade education and being as wise as he was, marrying a woman who was college educated, who's a nurse, who's as smart as she was, what it gave me is some context in terms of you need a little bit of everything. You know? So I don't really accept being judged, and I try not to judge people because I've needed every type of black person it is. You know, black people say, oh man, you folks get to work for government, they don't work for nobody. Shit, when I go into the city of Atlanta and I need to get a permit, I'm looking across the table at a bunch of black women, man. Hey, they know what they're doing. I go in there, hey, I really don't know what I'm doing. I need some help on this, you know what I mean? Because that's who's gonna walk you through the process to know what you're doing. So when you do say, well, I want to save time, I'm gonna go hire the white boy, I'm gonna hire my lawyer. The lawyer ain't gonna fuck you on no time. I know how much time it takes because Miss Crawford already walked me through the process myself. He ain't gonna tell me it take 8 hours and it took me 2 down there by myself. So Atlanta just taught me, man, don't be so quick to judge. The people like my man, Herman Cain, who's a Republican, a lot of people celebrated when he died, but man, came up right on the west side. I think he was originally born in Memphis, but came up on the west side. His father drove for the president of Coca-Cola. He went to Morehouse. Of course, he was gonna be a little more conservative. He was a poor boy at Morehouse. He didn't want to get kicked out, but when I tell you, he did everything he could in that community to try to help out. You look at Vernon Jordan. Vernon Jordan, high Democrat brother, died, but was influential to the cleansing more. A lot of people didn't like him that would say more conservative, but man, what he was able to bring to the Democratic power in Atlanta and what that brought economically mattered. So for me, I've needed all type of black folks in my life, so I try not to be too judgmental.
Where do you draw the line? Where do you see that the phrase "all skin ain't kin"?
Well, all skin ain't kin. Different people have different agendas, depending on what that's fine. And it ain't always time to mix and mingle. But our business is our business, and our kind is still our kind. That's all. You have to, I know some preachers, boy, if Farrakhan in the room, they won't come in there. I know some Muslims, if some pork been cooked in the room, they ain't gonna go in there. But you're gonna need people who are diplomats of sorts from each of those communities to be able to commune together. Like when you talk about, Nation Islam, what Brother Don, what brothers like Brother Tony Muhammad have been able to do in terms of reaching into the hip hop world and making sure even the newer guys hear the minister and the minister can minister to them. When I walk in a room with T.D. Jakes and he says, Charlemagne has told me about you and these are some things, I think stuff, all that matters, man, because all of us are of different tribes of some sort because we've chosen different tribes and born into families. But we got a common enemy. We got people who want to use you. We got people who want to abuse you. They don't care what God you call God. They don't care what you eat. They don't care who you voted for. You are easy to use. And if you let yourself be used without counsel with your brothers and others to see what's going on, you will be used. So when people say all skin folk ain't kin folk, it's usually you don't fit my agenda. And I'm just like, okay, you don't fit my agenda at this time. But even a house nigga got a role because somebody got to tell the niggas Harriet coming. And somebody got to make sure the master sleep.
Right. Hopefully that's what he's doing though.
Yeah, a lot of niggas got away.
True.
Yeah, see, we tend to forget about that part. Yeah, a lot of niggas got away. 40 million, 40, it was something like $40 billion or something came through Atlanta. My grandfather used to argue over Eddie Young. He's a friend and mentor to me, but my grandfather, Maynard, was his mayor because Maynard said it's a 30% rule. If you don't do 30% of your business with black people or 30% of your business with minorities, you don't get no city contract. So he really strengthened the black middle class and grew it even. Andy was viewed as more liberal and more akin to dealing with white folks and stuff. And my grandfather and grandmother had these huge, wonderful arguments over them, right? But Andy, out of that 40 billion that came, 11 billion made it directly to the black community. So you got to start to say to yourself, well, shit, man, I couldn't get $1. I couldn't get $1 off every dollar. I couldn't get 50 cents off every dollar if I got a quarter. Give me a quarter off every dollar. Give me a quarter. For niggas who been in the street,
Right.
you hustle, nigga had $1,000 ball, nigga gave you $250. He kept $750 for himself. The fuck you mean? You know what I mean? I remember being 13 going to niggas say, hey man, you paying us $1.70 off a bone. You paying us $170. You paying the older niggas, you paying them $240, $250. Why don't you let me and my partner get the $240, $250? We ain't even gonna tell nobody, but let us get our extra $7, $8. Nigga told us, fuck us. I said, okay. I say, man, all right. I say, man, just give us 2 bombs then. You know, just, we'll bring your money right back. Shit, next time the nigga see me, I was on TV. I was a rapper. Fuck ass, nigga. You know, you gonna try to use me because I'm a little boy. Politics ain't much different, you know what I mean? What you got for me? That's all I said, what you got, because this is what I seen work.
Right.
You know, it's like when people say, gentrification. Well, the neighborhood I grew up in Collier Heights, is a neighborhood that was bought at a 30% markup by black people. See, these black people, you got Southwest Atlanta. When you first heard Outkast, Goody Mob, they rapping about Southwest Atlanta and rapping about College Park, East Point. Those areas that were predominantly white and black people moved in. It was a little, but where we moved in terms of 1946, when my neighborhood started, it was poor crackers. I heard of dynamite bombings on houses and shit when blacks started moving there. So finally, blacks said, you know what? We're gonna get all y'all motherfuckers a 30% markup and just leave. And they bought the whole neighborhood. And then they bought the neighborhood. It's called, you can look it up, it's articles on it called Collier Heights. People put clubs in their basement because they weren't finna go into town trying to party at no white folks club. We're not gonna give you our money. So they meant it on every level. My grandfather meant it because he wouldn't go to no grocery stores. We went to butcher shops, so he caught fish out the lake, my grandma's garden. The people who was rich meant it because they wasn't taking their money to the hotels, renting out no ballrooms. They had their whole houses set up like clubs and hotels. So I grew up in a very black power environment that was not the theatrics of black power per se, right? But what it was is an everyday foot in front of the other, strength, will, and determination to keep as many things black as you could in front of you. So that's just the way I learned, you know?
Have the theatrics overtaken the one foot in front of the other
You
mentality?
need the theatrics. You need theater because that's what attracts people to things. You know, man, one thing I loved about the Muslims when I was a little boy, man, they looked good. They look sharp. Now, I know I seen this nigga go to jail 3 years ago. You know what I'm saying? I know this nigga went to jail. The nigga was in a nigga suit, and this nigga had doodle stains in the draw, right? This nigga that came out of jail, man, this nigga last name X now. This nigga standing 6 foot tall. He got this bow tie on. This nigga smelled good too. So you need to present yourself in a way. You know, it took me and my stylist, we had to figure out, nigga, what jacket we wearing. You want to look good. You know what I'm saying? So the theatrics matter, but after the theatrics, what do we really have? That's all. You got to make sure you have something. You know what I mean?
But I think that's what I'm getting at. I don't see a lot of substance under some of these theatrics. I see a lot of the phrase I use nowadays is, attention is the new currency.
Yeah, but everybody do things with it though. It's
no, you can definitely turn. But what happens when attention is the plan?
Yeah, but it ain't just attention. Like attention brings money. So without naming names, organization got a whole bunch of money, man. One of the organizers, when they got hot water, hit me, said, will you stand with me? And as much as I wanted to, as much as I love and respect and want to see it happen, I'm thinking you didn't call me when you got the money. See, if you would call me when you got the money, I don't even want no money from you. I already get paid singing and dancing. I'd have told you, instead of buying 1 or 2 houses, why don't you come to Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Tennessee, Georgia, and why don't you buy 500 acres? Then you take them 500 acres and you can do things like plant and grow. In Tennessee, you can grow marijuana. In Georgia, you can grow watermelons, you can grow onions, you can grow peaches. And soon to be in Georgia, you'll be able to grow medical marijuana. Why didn't the play come to the Southeast? There's a book called The Devil You Know by Charles Blow.
Yep, I read
it
that.
talks about 54% of African Americans still live in the South, in the Southeast. Politically, we dominant there. We can be. If you can marry the ability to politically dominate with the economic opportunity that we've had in the last 5 years, you can start to change certain things on a hyperlocal level. Now, I know some niggas gonna be watching this. Black capitalism will not save us all. That's right, nigga, you right. But if I can save Birmingham, if I can save Atlanta, if I can save Charlotte, if I can save Charleston, if I can save Tampa, Jacksonville, Savannah, and I can start to politically leverage jobs coming there. There's a $3 billion port coming to Savannah. We got economic power in Savannah.
Yeah.
So imagine if we would have put money from that organization into Savannah. You understand what I'm saying? Now you have political power, married with money, married with an incentive to see black people get even more jobs. Niggas in Savannah got some money because they work on the port. It's a whole new electronic vehicle. People that like the fact I met with a white guy who happened to be governor, but motherfucker just brought 9,000 jobs to Georgia. So what you get to do then is say, hey man, the jobs coming to Georgia, we need the jobs to come to Macon. We need the jobs to come to Columbus. We need the jobs to come to Atlanta. You get to say where they come. And that's what it is. You're not gonna win every war. That's why I don't try to fight every war. I ain't Braveheart. I ain't finna die for you niggas. You know what I'm saying? No, I done seen where that movie ends. You know, but if I can manage to get something that has some influence and make sure opportunity abounds, you know.
What stops everybody from thinking that way?
What? Well, I don't know. You gotta have seen it. And they systematically destroyed a lot of the places, man, that were strongholds for us. You know, Chicago was a stronghold. When you talk about black beauty care, all the aerosol stuff came out of Chicago.
Yep.
When you look at the greases and creams and lotions, some of the stuff you buy out of these major white brands is actually being produced by Dudley's out of the Carolinas, right? You know, you look at Bronner Brothers in Atlanta, but you know, the minute, you know, with Carol's daughter, it was a big deal. You know what I mean?
Was a big
you know, there's some, I forget my other man's name, who had the who has the barber thing. It'll pop up. But these are big deals. But sometimes we act like our big deals are our first big deals. It's a continuation. What Madam C.J. Walker did inspired the Bronner Brothers, inspired the Dudleys, now inspiring Carol's daughter and more. You know what I'm saying? Bevel, inspiring me, my wife, got a line coming out. But we got to see ourselves as a continuation of it. We got to see ourselves as masters of it. That's all. We ain't got it right, but we only been free 60 years. Like niggas only been free 60 years, man. Some of our parents 60 years old. Shit, they just getting some sense. So as a whole, we supposed to have all our shit together in 60 years. We ain't gonna have it together. So I just try to show each other some grace, man. You know,
What you feel about the whole black reparations thing?
Well, I think we deserve reparations. But do I think we gonna get them? Shit, man. I want a nigga who stole my car to bring my car back. You know what I mean? But that nigga might not never bring my car back. But I got just a cup of water. Just the water. Yeah, I want my car back. But that car might not never come back. So I got the repairs on the car not coming back. So when they call and say we got your car back, I can afford to fix it, you know?
I'm leery about what we do with reparations if we got them, though.
It depends on the guidelines. I mean, if it's us preparing the guidelines for it, and it's in a way where, you know, you can't do too much with a whole, you know, lump sum. There's certain guidelines that state that limit you from doing certain things and just burning through cash. I think it could work, especially as far as business goes. Like in the e-commerce and just regular brick and mortar fields, I think we can fucking propel if we have reparations.
I'm leery.
And here's my thing. I want to know from you being in the political field at times, what would that plan look like?
I don't know. I think you get real economists in a room.
Right.
You know, I think that's what you do. Like a lot of us got opinions on what we do based on our successes or failures. But as black people, it's time to start now. When shit coming out the toilet, you don't call your lawyer, you call the plumber. You understand what I'm saying? Like, so who are the economists? Like, you know, he was a conservative, people didn't like him, but he was a fine economist. Walter T. Williams, God bless the dead, he's gone, you know what I'm saying? But you know, I'd go back and look at old YouTube on Black folk. What would some conservative people say about money and what you do? What do rich people already do?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? What are the 2,000 billionaires who exist? What are they doing? What is Warren Buffett doing? You know, how they parlaying it? And how do you parlay money for a nation of people? You know what I'm saying? Like when you first get money, of course you gonna burn through. You ain't never had none. So how do you safeguard that? Whoever wrote Allen Iverson's contract was a genius. Because they held 50 million to what he was 50. But I'm telling you, but hold some shit till your dick don't work. You fuck around, save some money. you know what I'm saying? Like hold it till you get that age where, hey, baby, it might not be tonight. You know, fuck around and save some bread. So you know the question becomes, how would we help? Who would the panel be that we put together that knows money?
That we trust?
Yeah, well, I mean, at some point, You trust the bank enough to leave your money there, you don't know where it's at.
I think people trust the bank because they don't think they have any alternatives.
Well, they do. But what I'm saying is, you're gonna have to trust somebody someday.
Facts.
So you vet the people out. I'm gonna tell you the most interesting theory I heard on reparations, one I really liked a lot. Rob Smith is a billionaire.
Just went to see him speak.
Yeah, billionaire, right? And he proposed a 2% tax. Essentially, you put a 2% tax on corporations. That 2% would probably, he's saying even pay more and pay perpetuity better than reparations. With that, I talked to Miss Kathy Hughes, who of course started the Hot 97 TV1, that things like that. Kathy Hughes talked about if it's 40 million black people in this country, let's exclude 3 out of every 4 and say we got 10 million strong that have a stable economy, right? If I was a part of, say, 10 million, I would say I would give $10 a month. 10 million people, $10 a month, that's $100 million a month. What would we do first? We could do this before we get any reparations. 10 million black people could just say, I'm signing up to this newsletter, the same way you pay your iPhone storage bill every month, the same way you pay for whatever things you watch on TV. Who would be willing to dedicate $10? Essentially, that's $5 every 2 weeks you on fast food you spend. To say 10 million people, I'm gonna give 10 million. So even if they give $1, that's 10 million a month, which is 120 million. You know what I'm saying? But if they do $10, 10 million, that's $100 million a month. If we were willing to do that, would we need people to take care of our Rosa Parks?
No.
Well, we need the owner of Little Caesars to pay her rent, even though that's a valiant thing, and I appreciate him. But what we need it.
Right.
And Ms. Hughes was talking about we need to do this kind of self-funded thing to take care of our own. If charter schools are going to be a part of the process going forward in schools in black areas, if we're funding them ourselves, we don't have to fuss and fight with white folks about teaching black history. Every Saturday our children should be in Swahili class. Why? So they can be able to communicate amongst one another with the largest spoken language on the African continent. Right? They can talk to one another and not be afraid of what they're saying in front of white folk. But that kind of stuff takes real organizing. And real organizing could be as simple as making sure the lady who teaches Swahili got enough seats, her air conditioning, heat work, and she got food. If you got a 10 to $100 million fund landing every month, you have the ability to distribute that out there. So my thing is, even before we get reparations, are we willing to give $10 a month? Before we ask. Because we're going to give them eventually, but they're going to do you how like an insurance company, you get hit by a car. They're going to call you quick. Hey, can we settle out for $3,000? You know what I'm saying? And if you fucked up, man, that $3,000 sound like a lot. You're like, man, I can go get something. I can go get a couple bowls with this, you know what I mean? I get a pound, But those who are a little more savvy, they said, well, let me call my lawyer. My mama told me to call a lawyer. The lawyer might come back and say, man, I can get you $30,000 in a week. But then your cousin's gonna say, man, the lawyer already in with him, man. He taking 25% or 50% of your money. He gonna get 15. So really, you just got to, but hold on a little while longer. Then you go see a chiropractor. You lay out all fucked up, man. My heart defibrillating, all this old shit. then they finally say, you get another lawyer. He said, well, I can get you $100,000. I'm only gonna charge you 25 cents on the dollar. You got $75,000. But by the time you done did that, you done had some time to think about it. How you would have fucked up. You done actually made $3,000, work every day. And then with that 75, you said, well, let me go and put something down on the house. Let me go and grab a car. Let me go and make sure my wife and kids do it. You don't have a better sense of it. So for me, whenever the reparations coming, they coming, but who knows when they coming. But until then, can 10 million of us, can 1 million of us give $10 a month and say, this is what we're going to do?
It's the trust factor. It's not it's a great
idea. It ain't the
idea.
other person you don't trust yourself.
No, you don't trust where the money's going.
But you don't trust yourself with money.
You don't trust where the money's going.
Yeah, because you don't trust yourself.
That's still the same
But
thing.
it's $10. Funky little $10, man.
I'm not anti, but we also have a big thing about
I'm
making
telling black folk, get over that shit. You fuck up $10 every week.
You got subscriptions and shit like
man, yeah,
$10.
You fuck up $10.
It's not the $10.
That's why I said $10. $10 from a million folk. A million, don't even go to 10 million. Just get 1 million black folk. Just say, I'm gonna give $10 a month. I'm sorry, man, you can't even tell me that money matter enough for you. They give a fuck. Call it a tithe, so God can't send you to hell for it. Give it to him. Y'all call this shit a tithe. I'm giving this in the name of Jesus. Do that. And that way you work 2 plays. You get up to help God, I'm fucked up, but I gave him a tithe. So the goddamn Greater Negro College Fund.
Greater Negro College.
Yeah, I just know I can't keep doing them.
Okay.
Yeah, some stuff it ain't even, it's not.
You don't know.
I don't know why I did that, but I know I can't do it again. Yeah, I know I can't do it again.
So just leave it alone if you
just
can't.
leave it alone. I
If
just
you
gotta let
can't pick
go.
it apart.
Man, first time I had morphine in the hospital, man, I understood why heroin addicts are who they are.
Hell yeah, I had
First
that
time,
during surgery.
I've
Oh
never
my God.
felt that anything.
You feel like you
better than
floated off the
pussy
bed,
and
right?
sex. You know what I mean? The shit, morphine felt better than pussy and head at the same time. And I'm not playing. You know what I mean? That's when
That's
I
a
had,
fact.
I developed empathy for addicts at that moment.
That shit-
And that's
that shit is
and that's when I said, yeah, I won't be doing that shit no more. I done went
Hell
through 2
yeah.
shoulder surgeries. Took the Oxycontin, I think the first day, the next day I was toughing it out. The first day was so excruciating, it just made it normal. But the minute it felt, oh no, it's too good. So some stuff you just gotta know, man, it's too much for me. It's too powerful for me. I can't do that.
It's
Bigger,
something
yeah.
that I was thinking about, and it's funny we talking about this. stuff.
Raj.
It's kind of
Grab a napkin. No, keep going. Keep going.
it's kind of been on my mind, like the last week or so. This topic has been on my mind. I used to think about it when I was a child, but it's came back recurrent. How much money would you say from your community that you come from that it would take to make some type of change in that community?
Well, again, I'm not from a community that's desperate or distraught. The community I came from was so mixed. We had everything in that community, from little 900 square foot houses with people who worked every day, who went, some people, I would assume were HUD or assistants to the black billionaires of Atlanta lived there. So my thing is, it's most beneficial, our community is most powerful when we truly in a mixed income community. When we truly in a community that was like the Harlem of the Renaissance, where you had, all the blacks from the very bottom to the ones that were on, what was the area, Sugar Hill or Air Strivers Row, those areas, to the areas where it was. So for me, blacks are best when we together. I'm for us being together. And that's not saying, hey, I want segregation. That's no. You're powerful. I don't say there shouldn't be a Greek town. I don't say there shouldn't be a little Odessa. I love going to Chinatown. When I'm in LA, I love to go to K-Town to experience another culture, to have my Korean friends. We need to take pride in having our own communities and neighborhoods and having them be mixed income, because that's how you get a political stronghold like Washington, D.C. when Marion Barrett was mayor and able to give summer jobs programs like the one Atlanta is doing now with Andre Dickens. I think 30,000 kids are working through the summer. That's 30,000 kids that's not just hanging out, doing vagrancy, fucking around. We've gotten it right before, but we always talk as though we on the defense. We've gotten it right before, and we can get it right again.
For the hood, what do we do for the?
But what defines the hood? See, a lot of folks running around here talking about their hood. Man, I told Bal, look, one time we were doing a giveaway, and Bal was, he was shaking his head. He said, hey, man, I look at these kids, man, I look at their shoes and how bad off they is. And it was a real, like, one of the moments, right? I looked at that guy, say, man, these little nigga wearing Jordan. You know what I mean? We just left Jamaica, man. You know who I knew who the nigga was in Jamaica? He had shoes on. You know how I knew who won the nigga? He didn't have no shoes on. You know what I mean? Like, nigga, the same time we went around here complaining, $24,000 beats most of what people make in the world, 24 grand a year. So I was telling my nephew 22 years old, he still live with my sister. He could try to complain to my sister about me. I said, first of all, nigga, fuck you. That's my sister. Yeah, what the fuck you talking about? This my sister house. I love you, but fuck you, nigga. My grandparents bought this house, man. We gave this house to my sister. This my sister house. Whatever the fuck she say, go. Give a fuck that shit you talking about. If she asked you for some more money. Because what I was doing at 22, I was in your daddy's house. All of us had an apartment together. I was sleeping on the goddamn floor. Because I didn't want to pay as much rent as he made. So if you're so goddamn smart, you gotta figure it out, nigga. Go find 4 other niggas and lay on the goddamn floor like I did, and get your shit up till you get your own shit. And then guess what you can do? You do like I did. Tell my sister, you can come live with me. You ain't got to worry about living with dad and find you. Live with me till you want to get to you on your feet, the same way my grandmama did for her 8 sisters and brothers. So that's what I'm saying. A lot of times we get cute with, oh, I've suffered so much. Man, okay. It's a motherfucker getting here today who look just like you, who gonna outwork your motherfucking ass. And simply apply your man. You magic. Because you already got the finesse of knowing the system. You know what I mean? They don't know. We shut the fuck up. They don't know if we Nigerian, Ghanaian. They don't know what the fuck we is. I showed them, you from Nigeria. Yes. Yes, I am here to work. I am here to help. And then whichever way you would like me to help. But I'm going to work like I'm Nigerian. I'm going to think I'm better like I'm Nigerian. I'm going to study harder like I'm Nigerian. I'm going to do things to put me in the front of people. I hate what happened to us because it destroys our morale around affirmative action. Affirmative action has been wiped away, and man, it's so bad. And I'm sitting up here like, what? How do hustlers think? So I'm sitting here like, okay, they ain't gonna let these kids go to Yale, MIT, Princeton. So shit, I'm gonna send Morehouse, Howard, Bethune-Cookman, Tuskegee, FAMU. I'm sending the recruiters there. Hey, you know, I know you wanted to go to Howard, but Morehouse is an interesting place. The girls at Spelman are right across the street. You can take classes over there. By the way, I heard your brother's playing 1 year basketball. Tell him he should probably come play because he wanted to go straight to the league anyway. Instead of going to play at Greece, how'd he like to play at Clark? You understand what I'm saying? If I'm black people, I'm gonna start trying to work an angle. If you know basketball players gonna spend 1 year out of high school, why are you gonna let them boys go to Australia and go to Spain and go to Greece? Nigga, take your ass to Tuskegee, nigga. Have a lit ass motherfucking homecoming, find a black wife with a big old booty, have you some old black tall ass kids that can come back and play. You understand what I'm saying? But we gonna have to start realizing there's opportunity in everything, and we just gotta find it.
Everybody don't think like that.
Well, God bless them.
So
Everybody ain't gonna make it, man. Somebody gonna be standing in front of stoves trying to sell cigarettes, trying to ask for cigarette. That's just what it is. Like, I want all of us to make it, but what's everybody's make it?
That's true. It is subjective.
What is it? My grandparents, I remember my wife saying, she said, nigga, y'all was rich. I'm like, rich? I'm like, nigga, you had Jordans at high school. Only Jordans I had, I stole out of nigga locker. And she said, y'all had 2 RVs in your lifetime. Y'all took vacations. And then I realized the richness of our life because my grandparents were older when they had me and my sisters. It was truly a rich life. We didn't get the spoilage of material things, but we had experiences. And what I'm trying to tell people here is and I'm not talking about abject poverty, but I'm talking about typical worker class people in this country. We have the ability, if we're willing to restrict some of the things that give us immediate pleasure, we're able to give ourselves and our children greater experience.
And that's where you're gonna catch the issue.
Well, I'm not gonna catch no issue.
No,
I'm gonna do it. Yeah.
As people, that's where we catch the issue because you talk about instant gratification. When attention is the new currency, instant gratification is the drug.
I think black people got it, man. I got to give us credit for trying. We learning, and we understanding, but we can't keep beating ourselves up. We can't keep saying we don't when we do.
Beating ourselves up versus being realistic. I don't know if we're beating
What's being realistic? Y'all been free 60 years.
And?
What's 60 years?
And
what's 60 years?
And?
What's 60 years?
Do something.
What haven't we done?
Do something with.
What haven't we done?
Put together that susu you was just talking
It's going to happen.
Gonna happen.
Yeah, absolutely. It's happening.
Why hasn't it happened already?
It's happening with the Nation of Islam. When the last time you bought a final call?
Oh, yeah, true.
Yeah, my nigga. You see what I'm saying? We always want to start. I mean, this is what I'm not doing. Yeah, everybody go buy a final call tomorrow. Everybody who watch this. The Muslims shouldn't have no papers in their hand tomorrow. Because you know what the Muslims going to do with the money?
True.
They're going to create other Muslims.
True.
You know what the Muslims are going to do? They're going to keep your neighborhood safe. They're going to show your little girl ain't nothing wrong with wearing a long dress. They're going to teach your children they're the original people on earth. So you know what that little $2 going to do. So go and spend that little $2.
True.
That's it. Find an organization that's doing the work and support the organization.
So it's more so of a mindset in your opinion.
That's all it is. That's all it's
And it
ever
just
been.
needs to shift.
That's it.
Just
That's
a little
all
bit.
it is. It just do a little bit more, man. You know, it took us coming off the fields to say, okay, I'm not a slave no more, but I sharecrop. And this is my family. My great-grandparents born to people who were enslaved. They sharecropped. They bought their first farm in 1948. That farm is still in our family to this day. Now we're not farming it, but they grow trees on it. They cut us a little check. Every January you might get $500, might go buy some trees with the little check you get or put in an investment account. But when I talk about, you know, people talk about leaving wealth and shit. Wealth is just being able to leave your children a house or some property. Something to bond your ass out of jail on. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Something to take a loan out against to start your first. But I think that we think that we're going to be the Rockefellers in one generation. And we don't understand that the plan the Rockefellers or the Kennedys or the Clintons have or the Bushes have had. Like Prescott Bush leads to George Bush Sr., leads to the other Bush boys. You know, Joe Kennedy leads to John Kennedy, leads to Bobby. Now you see the Kennedy still. You need to be thinking like that. When my great-grandparents bought that farm in 1948, they didn't even know who I was going to be, but they had already thought about me. And I think we need to start thinking like that, you know?
instant gratification is a rough one to get past.
I think we can get, or we just junkies and just admit we're a junkie. I'm a J. I gotta get this shit off. I bet you start saying that to yourself, you operate differently. I'm a geek monster. That's why I keep doing this shit, fucking up this bread. Cause I'm a junkie. Then you can't look at junkies bad. You got to look at yourself as one too.
That's true.
Speaking of junkies, no, that's not fair. That's not fair.
What?
That's not fair. I was gonna talk. You know, we're in a time now where the junkie is actually not that bad of a guy. Yeah,
that has never not been true. Look at disco. What they did, cocaine and dance.
Even before that.
Huh? You know what I'm saying? What they did, they did cocaine and dance their ass off. And then in the 80s, man, nigga talk about busting down, niggas talking about selling dope. Selling dope became an addiction.
Yeah, but it wasn't using it. The user and the abuse, the selling and the user was two different
alcoholics.
things. Say it again?
They became alcoholics. All the niggas selling that powder with snow, man. All the niggas ain't got no nose today. A lot of them niggas got on dope. Look at the end of Snowfall. That's what I did like about the end. It showed you the greatest dope ain't even cocaine. The greatest dope is what you can go in that liquor store and buy. Alcoholism. Your ego, your insecurities, and that sugar and that alcohol. That dope your brain up every time. You still the man. That's why drunks act like that.
Yeah, but you can open up a liquor store. You can't open up a Coke store.
Yeah, so you can.
No, you can't open up.
It's gonna be legal in your lifetime.
Yeah, you can't open up.
I bet you it's gonna be legal in your lifetime.
I'm talking about right now.
You gonna be
can't
able to
open
bust
up.
down. Weed legal. I never thought I seen niggas. I seen 14 niggas smoking on the corner today.
I knew that was
When
coming.
I didn't. I couldn't have predicted that.
How could you not know that was coming?
Man, please. These white folks love locking y'all up.
Yeah, but they also love weed.
It was so easy to lock y'all up weed. They wasn't searching. They ain't had no roadblocks in no white neighborhood. We went no roadblocks on Long Island. Roadblocks in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Harlem. Yeah, so my thing is all things possible, but stop being so hard on yourself and hard on each other. Give yourself some grace, man. You know, you ain't no different. Like we say, you know, we talking about these kids on these pills. Shit, what we was doing with 40s. Yeah, here now everybody drinking, everybody got a little cup, everybody love alcohol. You know what that shit doing to you. Yeah, ain't stopping for drinking. All y'all niggas in here drinking. Yeah,
He's talking to y'all.
Yeah, all right, whatever.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you, niggas who don't do
talking
drugs,
to y'all.
I bet y'all know his addiction. You like girls, don't you?
Who don't like
Nigga
girls?
done bought some pussy. Best believe. This nigga done purchased some pussy in the last 60 days. It don't. Nobody escaped the well, man. Everybody got something. And you have to discipline yourself around it.
It's not girls.
Shit.
It's not girls.
It ain't girls. Where's them boys?
I love
you
it.
right.
No,
Oh, my bad.
hold on.
We being progressive. I thought we being progressive.
Jesus H.
My bad.
Christ.
We being progressive.
Jesus H. Christ. My vice isn't girls.
Okay.
If you're talking about vices,
What's
my
your vice? What's your
isn't
vice?
girls.
Don't tell me no workout, no lying shit either. Give me a real vice.
No, it ain't. I wouldn't call that. If a vice is something, and my definition of a vice has always been something that you do to your detriment.
What you
Right?
do?
You should stop doing it.
What you do?
But it's to your detriment. Probably, hip hop's not a vice. Fighting is probably my vice.
So you fight?
I fight a lot.
Like street fighting, you do boxing?
No,
or something?
I get injured
You get
and I
injured.
don't stop.
Yeah.
So
It says
that's
detriment.
probably what I would
Respect,
call.
respect,
If it's something that you do to your detriment,
Right.
if I get all these injuries and still want to go back in there, I'd say that counts as a vice.
I got you.
I've never tried to drink. I've never tried to smoke. Like none of that. I don't even take aspirin for a headache.
Yeah.
But
So the dopamine of fighting is what gets you there.
if I
respect
if I got to call a vice, that's probably
respect
it.
What's
I
yours,
respect.
Mike?
Who, mine?
Yeah.
Oh, I got 2 minutes to list. Yeah, I like it all. As you can tell, I like to eat. I lost some weight trying to like it all. You know, drugs feel real good, but I can't do that.
Right.
You can't do it all, but you know, I like a lot.
Which vice do you indulge in?
What? I smoke marijuana, not as much as I used to. But you know, I like, you know, you can't like, I say whiskey, weed, and women. Stay 2 of the 3. You can't like them all. You know what I mean? So, you know, for me, the Blue Flame, I go see girls, go hang out with the wife shit. We see some cool shit. Hang out with a bunch of girls, see some cool shit. I smoke some marijuana. I try to stay away from the whiskey. You know what I mean? But my real vice is probably, man, I love black folks so much. You know,
To your detriment.
my detriment at times. You know, I love us, man. God knows I love us. I love our crazy self.
I think I got that from you when I saw you agree with Candace Owens. That was something I never saw.
But I mean,
happen in
the
a
thing
million
that she was
years.
talking about was agreeable, but there's lots of stuff I disagree with Candace on too. You know,
No,
like,
facts.
Yeah,
but like,
her observation of Juneteenth is crazy to me. You know what I'm saying? She calls it a ghetto, but then my thing is like, all right, Candace, But boy, I was taught any day they give a nigga off pay, you take. I wouldn't give a fuck. I wouldn't give a fuck. They call shit KKK Day. We're celebrating here today. Not like to say, first and foremost, it's good to have the day off with double pay. Like, we got to take advantage of every advantage, man. Well, I'm talking about Juneteenth got passed. I seen white folk on Juneteenth posters. Juneteenth in fucking Charleston, South Carolina and shit. Like, white folk get the program. It's just like when they say, hey, man, you 5% Indian, you get the claim. Next thing you know, white folk growing their part in the middle, growing their alcohol. Like, Elijah Muhammad said, study the white man. But he's successful, man. Like, we gonna have to get off some of this just wanting to be right shit. Candace was right in that moment. You know, it's a lot of disagree with her on, but she ain't wrong about everything.
Right.
But see, that's what I learned growing up in the neighborhood I grew up in. Because Miss Ophelia thought a little different than my grandmother, but they were both starring on me. But some of the stuff she'd say to me, I say, okay, I can see what you're saying. But Miss Ophelia was Catholic, much more structured church. My grandmother, Pentecostal, much looser church. You know what I'm saying? So you got a chance for me to see different kind of black folks that wanted the right things. I learned there's many different paths to freedom. You know what I'm saying? Many different paths. And if I ain't on the same path with you, I'll meet you when I get there. You know what I'm saying? I'll meet you when I get there.
Just don't be to our detriment.
No, I mean, but some things we gonna do as always. All of us do something. You know, everybody do. That's why I say you got to give each other some grace, man.
Nah, but we're not supposed to let them do things to our
Man,
detriment. We're not supposed to be okay with it.
What do you mean we're not okay with it? How many black Christians you know?
Tons.
You don't think that's to our detriment?
Yes.
You don't think,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
I just got back to the church, so don't let me piss them off and kick me back out. But you don't think Christianity's our detriment?
No,
No.
I think
It hasn't been our detriment?
No, I think certain
not.
people who practice
Why not?
Christian, I think certain people who call themselves Christians are to our detriment.
Really?
Yeah.
So over there Africa now, seeing our motherfucking white Jesuses go up. Seeing preachers walk around and high heels and that shit. And then it's like what they say when the Catholics came, they came with candy and Bibles. When they left, we had the Bibles, the children had the candy, and they had all our land.
Those ain't Christians.
I don't think, I think
Yeah,
those,
I hear all the nuance. I'm telling you, the Catholic Church is the richest church
Those ain't
on the
Christians.
face of the earth. They call themselves Christians, and we know they have an active campaign of fucking little
Call
boys.
themselves
all-
Christians.
I ain't seen a nigga burn down a church. I haven't seen a nigga say this is not Victoria Falls. We not gonna call it that. Fuck that old dead bitch. I ain't
That's
seen
not
a nigga
Christian.
say that.
That's not
I
Christian.
ain't. Hey, what I'm saying is, whoever runs it, whoever runs the 700 network, they say we Christians. We can say the oldest Bible in Ethiopia. Every nigga I know tell me they go from the trip to Israel. Every nigga I know in a major church. Oh man, we're going to Israel this summer, Mike. Would you like to come with us?
That
What
don't
the
mean
fuck are
they
you
Christian.
talking about, nigga? The oldest book is in Ethiopia. Why the fuck you don't want to go there? So that's what I'm saying. And I'm not judging Christianity. I'm just saying it's a lot of shit to your detriment before you start pointing at drugs or violence or the way your little girl dress. Where the fuck your money going to when you give it to the church? Do you do an audit on it? When you say those aren't Christians, when you're looking at an image of somebody who doesn't look like you and telling your child to worship you, that's not to your detriment?
That is the place that you're going to.
Okay.
You're talking about congregations. Do you know what Christian mean, brother?
No, don't even take me down that path. I did all that when I was 15.
No, but you did a lot of
I just
preaching.
don't do that. No,
You
I'm not
did that,
preaching.
but that's
I'm not
important.
preaching. I'm
That's
saying,
important.
show me a black person in this country that believes Christ is a black man and Christianity is a black religion and willing to en masse leave the unauthentic European Christian church. Just show me.
Again, when you just talked about a group of people, we have to know that you even know what it means.
Who got the power?
What does Christian
Who got
mean?
the power? I'm
oh,
gonna give
bigger,
you
jump ahead.
Yeah.
Jump ahead.
To be Christ-like
Please.
is what I would think.
Christian means to be Christ-like.
Oh, so I knew
And
that
to
one.
live
Okay.
like Christ.
Okay.
So anything that he just described to you, world, are those that are not Christian. Christ already said many will come before me.
Okay.
Many.
Okay.
And say, didn't I preach your name? Didn't I say that I knew you? He lets them know I never knew you. Now, the black thing that you said, we already know where he comes from.
No, we
already
don't.
know.
No,
Yes, he
we
does,
don't.
because
No, we
if
don't.
you read the Bible,
You know,
and you
I know
study
we
the Bible,
don't know nothing. We
calm
don't know
down.
shit.
If you read
I'm
the
not
Bible,
uncalm. Black
and
people don't know
If you read
that.
the Bible, you already know.
How
he
many
comes
black people
from
read?
Africa.
How many Christians read? Period.
So, to answer that question of what you just said, those that read the Bible.
So how many of those? If you gave me
Bible,
100 black people, how many gonna know? See, because at some point we got to get the stats. Because the world would be different if it wasn't like that. You understand what I'm
let's
saying?
ask everybody in the room.
That's
then.
the point.
Let's
We gotta
ask
get the
everybody
stats.
in the room.
Let's get the stats.
No, but that's the point. That's the point.
We could do
The average Christian ain't in this barbershop drinking whiskey.
But that's
the average
true.
Christian is
Who
working
in
at
here
UPS.
believes that Jesus was a white man? Let's do the stats right in the room.
You can't do
Who
the
in here
stats in
believes
this room.
Jesus was a white man? Do
Who believes-
anybody in here
I got a
believe
question.
that?
I got a question for you.
Thank
How
you.
many people in
Thank
this
you.
room know the Christian church is ran by white people? Huh? I'm not holding that motherfucker up high.
Again.
Hold up. How many people in this room
Hold on, Bigger.
know that the largest Christian church on earth is ran by white people?
Talk about
Hold on, put your fucking
That's a
hands in there.
fact.
Fuck all that fat
The largest
shit.
Christian
Put
church.
The largest
Christian church is
ran by
what?
white
Is
people.
what?
What's the name of
It's
it?
the Catholic
The
Church.
Catholic Church,
It's
the
the
Vatican.
largest Christian church.
You believe that?
You are a
Is it
Protestant.
true?
A Protestant is the church of protest.
You
Because
believe
Martin
so?
Luther nailed a
We
series
on
of
Google
protests
here.
to the
Why
Catholic
ain't
Church.
nobody pulling
the
out their
largest
phone?
Christian
Hold
church
on,
is the
hold on.
Catholic Church.
Hold on. It's not.
Y'all get happy because you get a black pope, or you had a black pope. Nigga
Look
ain't
it
got
up.
a black church.
Look it up.
Yeah,
Hold
that's why I don't try to shame TD Jakes or Creflo Dollars or all these other people. I'm not gonna try to shame them brothers because they can get a few thousand people together or a million people together to try to live morally right, to try to help one another. I support it. I'm not mad at it. But anytime you and your oppressor share the same God, and God is showing more favor to your oppressor, that probably ain't the God for you. And he can have it. I'm a
don't share
Christian
the
too.
same
God
God,
bless you.
though.
Jesus love us all.
We don't share the same
Jesus
God.
love our master a little too much though.
You don't share the same God, and that's not
Okay, I
true.
hear you.
Jesus
Well, they
didn't allow
misrepresent
the
your
master-
God, and we ain't doing nothing to
That's
stop
not
it.
true.
They
That's
misrepresent
not
your
true.
God.
The scripture, if anyone reads the scripture, you could easily.
So where your
see.
700 club
You
at,
could
Bigger?
easily
Bigger, where your
see.
700 club? I want to go save black folk
First of
tomorrow.
all,
Where you
first of
now?
all,
Now, for real now,
first of all,
Bigger.
the church is not what you think it is. You
Bigger.
keep
I know that
describing
Jesus preached in the street,
congregation.
but bigger.
The church is
Your
the
black
body
folks
of
not
Christ.
going to the
It
body
is
of Christ.
not
They
a
going to a
congregation.
building every
Not a
Sunday,
building.
Bigger, and they leaving
that's not what
money
I'm
there.
talking about.
And that money never makes it
And
to
that's
your
not
community.
what I'm
And
talking
your
about.
people,
Hold
no
on,
matter
hold on,
what
hold
you
on.
say, Bigger, when they go to the Louvre and they look at the goddamn ceiling, they looking at a cracker. And they saying the whip cracker is God.
That's not what I'm talking about.
That's what
Those
I'm
out
talking
there,
about.
and I'm
If
not.
things are to black people's
Those out there,
detriment,
no, I'm not
stop
talking
believing
about
that it's
that.
just drugs
Christian
and
means
cussing.
to be
What's to your
Christ-like.
detriment
If you're not
is
Christ-like,
worshiping
you're
the
not
same
Christian.
thing that oppresses you. That's it. That's it.
And if you're
That's
not
it.
Christ-like, you're not Christian.
I don't even know if Christ really existed.
I
But
know.
guess what I know?
That's obvious.
I know that the black man and woman, the original people on earth. I can show you that. I can pull up a white folks to show you that. I don't know if Christ ever existed, but I know he's one of the greatest characters in the Bible. He's one of the greatest characters I ever wrote about. So I don't care what color you make him in your head. What I'm saying is if your master can worship that same Christ and imprison you, and the last person he saved on this earth was a prisoner, a self-confessed thief, being crucified by the state next to him. Why ain't black people in mass working in prisons? Huh? If you're a Christian, if you're a true Christian, because the church is not where Christ is. Christ is with the lepers. He's with the sick. I read it. My grandma made me read it. From the time I was 5, Bible camp and all that. Then I went to Morehouse, where I studied religion and philosophy. And then I was in the mosque for 12 years. And I I actually took my shahada and I was in the mosque. And I remember when I left, I told my mom, I can't do this no more. He said, why? I said, because it all leads you back to a white man in a dress.
You told your mom that?
Huh?
You told
I told my mom that. I had to go. I loved him. I love what he taught me. I love what I learned, but it all led me back to some lighter figure in a dress. Some old long white goddamn dress. So somebody asked me what I said. What are you? I said, I'm whatever African was the day before the first Christian or Muslim stepped their foot in. That's what I am. Because there was a whole Muslim slave trade down the other coast of Africa we don't talk about. We don't talk about how them folks got light skin and fat skin in North Sudan versus South Sudan. We don't talk about how Arab speakers came across. We proud to be Moors, but still, the religion was pushed on you and forced on you. Honorable John Henry Clark said, the African has no friends. And And at some point, we got to get past who's really a Christian or he's a Hebrew and who are the true Muslims and who are the Moors. And we just have to say, like Elijah Muhammad taught us, we are Earth's original people. That's the one thing I do know. Whatever put us here, put a dark black woman here first. And her DNA made everything in this room. The most powerful DNA in this room is right there. That's what God looks like.
Chastity, stand up real quick so people can.
That's what God is. Dr. John Henry
With
Clark
the right
said,
T-shirt on. With the
he
right
said,
T-shirt
all
on.
religions are male murder cults.
That's my uncle.
Right? Male murder cults. Because no matter what we choose to think of religions and what's right and what's wrong, if you're not honoring that as first, what do our religions share in common? They warn you about the perils and evils of women. Why? We ever asked ourselves why? Why can't something that life comes through be seen as holy? We don't do it. I'm just asking why. I'm just asking why. Because I don't have the answers. But when you ask yourself why, you'll stay up at night.
I just want to say, not Christianity. Christianity is Christian. So for all the world, don't make that confusion. A lot of people talk about Christianity. I'm not talking about Christianity. I'm talking about Christian. Those that understand. I'm not going to argue about that. You can keep going.
I love you in Jesus' name.
So let me ask you a question, Mike.
We should probably take it to. Go.
We take a break out of his bathroom.
Yeah, okay, let's hold the question. We'll come right back to that.
Yeah,
We'll
because
back
it
to
might be
10-minute break, y'all. So we left off.
Niggas argue about
With a
Jesus.
debate.
Same shit every
It was a
barbershop.
debate.
Yo, if Huey from the Boondocks grew up, I think he'd be Killer Mike.
Hey man.
Especially if he started rapping.
Hey, well, I love that show, man. I really hope it come back.
Aaron
Shouts out to Aaron
Magruder. Yeah,
man.
please pull up.
Yeah,
I would love to.
Shouts out to Aaron. He's a good brother. He needs a sponsor. Aaron don't make public appearances often. You catch him in public, you at the coffee shop or something. But I talked to him, man. Charlamagne introduced me to him. He's a great brother.
You talk to a lot of people who don't make public appearances.
Yeah.
Aaron Magruder, fucking Andre 3000, Globetrotting with a flute, just running around here.
In Japan.
And
Yeah.
you got him for your pride. Well, madam,
Yeah,
hold on.
so
Before we
what,
even,
what I was curious about, so
Yeah.
I know you have an extensive education in religion and theology.
Yes.
And as you stated before, you're a Muslim, you know,
I practice Islam, practice Islam. I study with Hebrews.
Right. So extensive. Now I listened to the album. I was working out to it this morning, and I couldn't help but notice that there was Yoruba-based poetry and actually prayers to the ancestors.
Yeah.
Right. I'm a part of that, and that's what I believe in heavily. So I wanted to ask you, what was the influence in putting that on that specific track?
My ancestors and in particular my mother and grandmother, you know what I mean? They cover me, they walk with me every day.
Exactly.
I got ancestors I never met that prayed, you know, for me to be here. So for me, again, you know, it's in searching for who I am and who we are and culturally who we've been, you know, if this album brought me back to the roots of Christianity, of church, of self-reliance, of southernness, of the Pentecostal church that I grew up in the music, from a logical standpoint, what I've learned in my time in Islam and even in organizations that would be considered offshoots. Like, when you get past all that, who we were when we brought here, who were we praying to, you know, and I just wanted to connect with that. And the record, High and Holy, isn't necessarily talking about marijuana as much as how we should be vibrating and how we should be moving. And I just thought it only appropriate that a prayer be on there in our language and of our religion, of one that we have discovered and not even discovered, the one that we had created and cultivated. So I had a sister, a priestess, you know, come in and say a prayer, and and even if you don't understand what it's saying, you feel what it's meaning.
You can feel it, and then there's a wording in it that, you know, just stands out. So when you say Ogun, when you say Chango, you say Yamayad, Oshun, that's almost universal, even to the ear that doesn't really understand it. But my thing is what brought it to your attention? Was it when you were in school?
Well, I studied black people. I had a teacher named Miss Baraki. Dr. Asa Hilliard was teaching at Clark at the time, and he had did a curriculum for Atlanta Public Schools for history teachers to come and learn, to basically teach black children about who they were past starting that slavery. Who was the ruler of the Malian Empire? Who were the Nubians? who was in ancient Kemet,
Oyo
things of that
Empire.
nature, all that. And she was one of the first people that introduced me to thinking outside of the religions that we were given, the big three,
Right.
you know, of course. And, you know, she just, if you wake up a child's curiosity, they're gonna try to find it. You know what I mean? So, you know, whether it was Santeria, whether it was what they call voodoo, whether it was called Ifa, it just, I started, once you become aware of something, you start seeing it places, you start asking questions. And people, once they realize you're genuinely curious, they more than willing to share with you and help you understand better. Not even try to recruit you, just help you understand. So I've been fortunate that I know people in that community. I know people in a lot of Black religious community, but that community in particular is a very powerful one in terms of their reverence of ancestors, their support of one another and of their communities. And you know, if you look at my motherless video, all those sisters and priestesses that are in there that are doing the prayer for me, Sister Taj, who put the stones in my hand in the video, is that person that's praying.
Yep.
And she's my sister. I love her to death.
I just wanted to say to you before you ask your next question like that, I personally appreciate that is a part of your art.
Yes, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? At this point, you know, you had a long career. Your career's still going.
Yeah.
And the only other person I seen highlighted was Beyonce. Right? She made a whole album, Lemonade, about Oshun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So to see another Black artist,
Yeah.
you know, put that in their music, it means a lot to me personally, and I appreciate that.
I appreciate the community.
It just feels more, it makes the album more autobiographical to me.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people will, no one would blame you if you decided to keep your religion out of your album.
Yeah.
Or you decided to keep your relationship out of your album. Plenty of things that people like to keep private. Man, when you do motherless child though,
Yeah, they're motherless. Yeah.
bro, like my father, I lost my father
God
in
bless
the same and they hear me quote my pop so much they make fun of me for it.
Yeah.
But that record hit different off the strength of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To get an understanding of our parents, a lot of us don't have that.
Yeah.
Don't know who they were as children. I still go talk to my uncles and his cousins, and I hear about the stories of my pop when he was my age and younger. But you have an understanding of your moms. You've had conversations with your moms, and then you put them in the song.
Yeah, I did. I mean, you got to.
No, you don't have to. That's the whole thing. You really don't have to.
I have to. Yeah, I feel compelled to. I just want to be honest and an artist for the rest of my days. That's all. You know, when me and cousins in there working, they done heard every version of Killer Mike they can heard. Pretty much, man, you know, the most amazing thing with me is what I just realized is how many people never gave me a shot. They never gave me a listen. You know, and I get it. You know, maybe I didn't have the greatest marketing toward it. Maybe like Jesus, when you see me, you didn't see nothing of me, you want it. But when you finally sat down and let it pierce your heart, it hit you. Because it's your life. You don't I never took it personally. You wasn't avoiding me, you was avoiding you. You thought you was a dope boy in the trap. You wasn't no dope boy because I was in the trap. I never saw you there. You know what I'm saying? Shit, we were trying to get the fuck out the trap. I didn't want to be there. So I understood why certain other things caught your fancy and caught your eye. I understood why you thought I was just talking theory when I was talking about Black economics. But when I got that first $60,000, you know, check off rap music, I went and bought my first investment property. I knew, like I say, man, if I want to be free, I got to be free. I got to figure something else out. I can't keep begging a record company to believe in these radical Black ideas. You know, eventually you got to become the idea. Yeah, I remember jumping out of Honda. A nigga said, God damn, Mike, you jumping out of Honda. But I was taking goddamn, like, I think eight or nine bands in the bank. I said, yeah, nigga, fuck. I said I'm buying houses, nigga. I ain't buying cars no more. You know, I'm trying to get something, you know, and it wasn't a shame or nothing, but it's just like I had got to one of my life. I didn't give a fuck what you saw me jumping out of. I'm getting to some money, you know what I mean? Like, because I understood when you don't have money, man, they treat you bad. They treat you fucked up, man. They treat you bad, man, you know what I mean? They talk to you bad, they handle you bad, you know what I mean? So I understood then, you know, have something and have, you know, so I saw a John Goodman clip. I don't know what movie it's from, but he talked about, you know, getting your little $1 or $2 million living off your 5, 8%. Like, you know, I'm nigga rich, nigga. Fuck you. I don't need nothing. I got everything I ever wanted. I got. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I'm at that point in my life where not fuck you, but fuck the control. So let me go bait Michael. I don't want to chase the trend. I don't want to try to imitate what young people are doing. I don't want to try to swag, swipe, steal. I wanted to give you what the product of 50 years of hip hop is, and that's me. You know what I'm saying? That's a kid. I got introduced to hip hop with my mama. She was only 16 years older than me, so she would listen to Curtis Blow. She would listen to Houdini. She would listen to Run and D-Them. So, you know, I'm right there with her. Like, man, this shit jammed. I was with Roxanne Shante today. She made me want to do. I seen this 15-year-old girl rapping her ass. I'm like, oh, I got to do
Hard with the
Then
bars.
she sent my mama a signed picture, not like a picture like that you would take and get the code and get developed to me. I still got that picture in my book, in my little photo book. We, you know what I mean? Like when her movie dropped, I took it, I showed it to her. Like we on the phone crying, like, hey man, she's like, hey man, your mama was real. I'm like, I know. Like this kept me going. So for me, man, I just, you know, you got to keep pushing. I don't know why people didn't give me a chance, but I'm glad that the people who did gave me a chance. Cause man, I got a fervent group of disciples out there like Boosie daughter was. I told y'all niggas. I told y'all niggas. I told them they did. You know, so my thing is, man, maybe the generation that my albums or I was always trying to rap to finally slowed down and listened. And said, damn, this is what I've been missing. But I've always shown up on features and showed out and did what I'm supposed to do. But now they have to listen to that album and they have to understand that this album is not just Mike's autobiography, it's my autobiography. Every man in this room that had a moment in the bathroom where he had to look in that mirror and cry. Because he knew something what he had to push through was hard. It was damn near insurmountable. But he had to do it. He had to take care of that woman. He had to take care of them children. He had to take care of his mama, his grandmama. He had to take care of his aunt. You know, I remember my grandfather died. My sister Shonda, she teased me about crying on stage. She's my baby sister. She put her hands on my back. She said, hey, man, you know, go on and get it all out now because tomorrow you the leader of this family. That was 20 years ago. I didn't know how to lead myself out the strip club. How the fuck I'm gonna lead a family?
My next question was, how did that feel?
But it felt overwhelmingly scary. But over the course of the next 20 years, I figured it out. You know what I'm saying? You know, I figured it out. So for me, man, I'm blessed that God has preserved me to keep me. You know, looking handsome, dressing fly, smelling good, and with something to say, rapping. You know, and I'm blessed that people finally took the time to listen because it's truly a blessing.
But we know it's not financial because, like you said, you got everything you want. Many people, many rappers will speak from the perspective of once I get the bag, I'm gone. Like you'll never see me here again. I'm here for the bread, and that's all she wrote. Jay might be the biggest cap of all when it comes to that. Because
Jay is gone from competing in the regular ho-hum rap though. But when that motherfucker show a verse, don't act like Andre 3000 on the nigga show up and dazzle y'all. that nigga Jay showed up with that Cali shit. Nigga was like, God damn, cuz still got it. You fucking right. But he realizes he is just important in the boardroom as he is as a product the boardroom is selling. And I admire him for that. And I respect him for that. You know what I mean?
No, there's no disrespect, but I see the
I don't
fact
think you
that
disrespect. I'm just saying I admire and respect his ability to say, hey, I'm still an artist, I can do this. But he understands the art of business and works it in a way that is beneficial and it grows other people opportunities. And I've always been a fan of that because I'm from a city where that's what I saw. Like Google the people you hear me rapping about. Google Herman Russell. Google Alonzo Herman. You can't Google cue ball. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You can't Google Charlie Cato, but ask somebody about, from Atlanta. So for me, I'm a fan of black people doing and growing, and I cheer for it. Even if I don't always, people disagree with it. Oh, he sells liquor, and they're like, yeah, fucking Jack Daniels been selling liquor 100 years. And a black man taught him how to do it.
Uncle Nearest.
Yeah, so my thing is stop complaining and buy another liquor, gets earning it. Uncle Nearest. Like, my grandfather told me that. I think, man, I was so blessed in the education that I got because it was so common folk. It was like reading a Zora Neale Hurston book, The Eyes of Watching God and Using Men. When you read those books, she wrote in the black colloquial terms that black Southerners talked in. So, my grandfather, he said, hey, man, yeah, white boy got that Jack Daniels, man. It's all right, I'm going to tell you. A black boy taught him how to do liquor. And I'm like, what? I'm like, Greg, get the fuck out. You know what I mean? I'm just like, I ain't never heard that with granddaddy. But what did my granddaddy do? Besides drive dump trucks and take care of my grandmother, he hauled liquor. His brother-in-law brewed the liquor. He hauled the liquor to Atlanta. His cousin Shot had the Shot House. So he knew liquor. He knew alcohol. And he, before they ever admitted it, had already told me. So when it came out, that Nearest Green, the person who had helped Jack learn how to properly make whiskey, was that little black man in the picture with the hat on it. And I said, God damn, Bert was right. And it made me believe even more what he said, you know?
I want to get back to the music real quick. So you've done some very memorable features.
Yeah.
One in particular, which is one of my favorites out of many, is Poppin' Tags. With Jay-Z, Big Boy, Twista on Blueprint 2. How did that even come about, and were you guys in the studio?
Man, fucking crazy, man. Like, I was on the tour bus with Outkast, and Big came and said, hey, man, that boy Ho just called. He said he wanted, he got this feature, Poppin' Tags. He said, I told him I don't think Dre really in no feature right now. He said, no, I want the young boy. I want the boy Killer Mike y'all got over there. And Shanti Dodds, who's now left the music industry to start a beautiful mental health campaign called Silence the Shame. Shanti took me to Jay-Z's studio. What was it, Baseline?
Baseline, yeah.
Took me to Baseline. I met Jay there. We chopped it up, talked. I didn't record it until I got back home. I think I was just so nervous, like. But when Big told me about it, I went to the back of the bus to my old little time porch, and I just started writing right there. But the beat was fire. I went, and originally I was right behind Jay. And if you hear, they clipped it, and I think they put Twista in between us.
Yeah, they did.
I think I showed the fuck out, so I was just like, get that young boy, he a little too hungry. Just add down the line some. But I'll tell you, past that, man, I really understood how cool he was when I was standing at MTV, and I'm standing in the cut like this, and I see him coming down the hallway with down to like a ticker tape parade, like 20 folks around him. You know, he just a darling. You know, them folks at MTV was like, oh my God, host in the building. You know what I'm saying? and he was walking past. Now I was trying to stay out the way. He stopped. He said, "Man, you ain't gonna speak to me? I put you on my album and everything." I was like, "Oh shit!" I was like, "Man, my bad." And that's when I was like, "Man, dude, really is still who he is." So I be tripping out there when I wake up, get up, moving around, see a text from him just out of nowhere. You know, peace, God. I seen what you did. Just sending some encouragement your way. He's still a very grounded, cool human being. You know what I mean? I appreciate all the love and encouragement, because as I was making the record, we sent it to him early, and he sent back some real positive notes, and just he sent back a great compliment. He was like, "It feel like I went to my cousin's house and watched a movie." And you know, when you go to your auntie house, you watch shit your mama not gonna let you watch. You know what I'm saying? You watch Fresh, Sugar Hill. You know what I mean? All that shit, all that dope what shit, that teacher shit. You know, so. I really was honored by it, and it kept us going through. I think that was about a year ago. He might have sent that compliment through, but and we delivered. You know, me and Cuz locked in that studio, and we got it. We gave you an audio movie, son.
Did you know that you had the chops to compete with the albums that your album is being mentioned?
I knew I was gonna have the best album this year.
Not just that. I'm talking about.
I knew it's a generational statement. Ain't nobody never did no something for junkies. Ain't nobody, because see, usually when you get the sensitivity of a black man, it's a nigga talking about, oh, I've made these mistakes, and how could I have cheated on my wife, and I wouldn't have, all this old kind of shit. Man, listen, man, I'm a nigga, man. I did all the nigga shit, you know what I mean? And I done made amends with it. Like I said, I said, you got niggas coming home from rocking 20 in the pen trying to make amends with baby mamas, get to know their kids. You know what I mean? That's some real nigga shit, man. That's like that man didn't even deserve the 20 he got. And then when he get out, he got to go back to the same woman. This woman has been with some men. Somebody stressed out. Your kids and call somebody else Mr. or Uncle. And you and her got to figure this shit out together. Because she the only one who wrote your ass and sent your ass some money. You get what I'm saying? Like, all that shit for real. Like, and so this the kind of shit you got to sit with it and stand up on. So I wanted to give, I knew wasn't nobody gonna give you that. Everybody's still too consumed with being the hero. But man, the hero, man, Batman get beat up. They beat the shit out of Batman. You know what I'm saying? Like,
they broke his back.
Yeah, like you got to understand that that's a part of being the hero. So I don't think anybody had the chops to make Michael, because nobody lived like Michael. Then nobody grew up in no all black community thinking nothing was impossible. You can say these cities were like that, but I'm saying this is what I was in. This is what I currently help to foster. All my neighbors black, to my left and right now. I chose it. I could have moved in Marietta. I could have went to Johns Creek. I could have went on further out in Douglasville. I stayed my black ass right amongst a bunch of other black ass people. A little bit higher income than I was raised around, but even when I was raised around, it was black millionaires around the corner. I make purposeful steps to keep me with my people. In this album, I made a purposeful step to say something for, about, and with black people that if I got upset about a review. And when I looked at myself, I said, God damn it, you done let the devil trick you off your square. I shouldn't have got upset because the reviewers wasn't even qualified to review. You're not black. And that's all I have to say. How the fuck can you comment on what being black in America is like? No, the closest you've been to black is watching a few movies, hearing a few albums, going to a music festival or two. You know nothing. I heard Dr. John Henry Clark say, I argue with my equals, everyone else I just teach. So I hope the white boy go back and listen to it and shut the fuck up and just listen to what it's like being a 9-year-old black boy in America, believing in yourself, saying nothing is impossible. All your heroes and villains look like you. I don't give a fuck what you think about any line in my music because you a voyeur. You get to watch it, but you don't get to touch, like the strippers. You get to listen, but you don't get to comment. You don't have a comment because you haven't lived. That's like me popping up in an Amish village. You know what I think y'all need? Some muscle cars. The fuck I'm gonna tell an Amish motherfucker about being Amish? So I wanna apologize for even responding because you don't know what the fuck you talking about. It's like arguing with a kid who's special. God bless his soul, man. I love my special uncle. He can build his room and can't count $100. So, you know what I mean? So whenever he build a room, we make sure my sister go with him. Pay our uncle, don't fuck him over on his money. So everybody, well, I was mad at myself. And I said, God damn, that this white
That shows how passionate you are about your art.
Well, and
about your culture.
Yeah, and about my people. That's right. You know what I mean? My thing is, I was more, I was putting the press on my publicists to make sure that, hey man, people like us reviewed. But then I had to understand, even people like us, the skin folk thing. You still my kinfolk, but you grew up in Connecticut. You don't understand.
Shout out to Connecticut.
Your soul. I fuck with Connecticut. my Aunt Jackie in Connecticut, but you can't understand. My Aunt Jackie grew up in Tuskegee. She grew up in an all-black world in this little town on her grandparents' farm. So by the time she moved to Connecticut, it was a different world. You get what I'm saying? It's a whole different. I grew up in a world where I didn't have to worry about diversity fitting in because all my heroes and villains already looked like me. Well, my schools was named for people who looked like me. The college I went to was built for people who looked like me. Every problem I had, anything I need to overcome, is the person usually on the other side of the atmosphere looked like me. The person who was helping me looked like me. Life felt fair. It wasn't the fairest, because I knew 15 minutes outside Atlanta was Georgia. My granddad gave me a car. He told me two things. Don't drive your ass to Gwinnett and don't drive to Douglas County. So thank God the Migos came and turned Gwinnett. You know what I mean? Shots out, rest in peace, my nigga Takeoff, man, you know?
Yeah.
So I just, man, I want to represent for us. My grandfather would tell me, don't embarrass yourself, son. Take care of your sisters. Don't embarrass me and your mama name, and don't embarrass black people. And I'm going to try my best to keep that.
It would be so cool if more of us rocked like that, had that philosophy.
I think a lot of us do. We should give that credit. You've been devil's advocate. Eventually you got to get off the devil's side. What do you like about black people?
Thank you.
Because you got dreads. You like napping hair, nigga. Like, goddamn, nigga. Like, you got to like something about niggas.
All kinds of shit.
So tell me, give me 5 things you like about black people.
Hip hop, rhythm, food, women.
Rhythm, hip hop, the same thing. So
No, they're not.
They all music. Sorry, give me something besides.
No, they're not, food. Because
give me something besides music and food that you love about black people.
People.
No. Give me something you love about black people.
I love our soul.
Okay, and what's that mean? Go a little deeper. What's our soul?
Our soul, I think when it comes to black people, we have a natural equilibrium with the earth in general. I think the pulse of us comes directly from the heartbeat of the planet. I think we're attached to things in ways that maybe we don't see, but we feel.
Absolutely.
And I think our ability to translate our feelings into poetry, music, etc., different realms of expression is unparalleled. And I think that's why people gravitate to us the way they do, because we have a natural equilibrium with the earth. Exactly.
We don't go hate, we stay in positive. You know what I like, what the CDC said a few years ago? You know who spend more time with their children than any other people, any other fathers?
Black fathers.
Black fathers spend more time with their children. So that's why I don't like to hear of what we ain't doing. Black men, shut the fuck up. Niggas unemployed, who you think babysit? That's why, you know what I'm saying? Shouts out to my Uncle Jeff. You get what I'm saying? I like that about black people, that we be with our dads. I like that. Because Lord knows, man, we got some solid ass dads out there, man. A lot of times they don't get the credit, they get beat up and they take it.
I quote my father every other show.
Look how you smile when you talking about that.
Every other show. I quote my father every other show.
Daddy wants you staying positive, man. We gonna whoop niggas' ass and smile, man. That's what we gonna do, man.
That come from like the like soon as an athlete, mama, it's never daddy. Hip hop gives pops no props.
Man, pops deserve the props. Hey, shouts out to my man Logic though, man. He is. People who know his story knew his father suffered from some addictions. He grew up damn near with his best friend and his best friend mom. Logic, man, is a dad now. He's married. And if you follow him, man, you pop up. He just had a baby. Congratulations to you, bro. I love you. But his pops up on his timeline. And him and the old man, they reconnected. And you could tell that the old man really is in reverence of his son. They say, man, it's an old parable that says, the only person that truly wants to see you do better than them and be better than them is your father. Your father, man. Your father say, man, I want you to be a better man than me.
My father's birthday is April 23rd.
God bless.
Every year, there's one caption that I put up when I post a picture, because I stopped doing it when he died.
Yeah.
I only do it when he was born. And I put up this caption every year. It says the same thing. All I ever wanted was to be him.
That's right.
All he ever wanted was for me to be better.
Come on, man.
Here's hoping we both get our wish.
Come on.
I say that it's the only thing I can think of.
You got to love that.
Every time I try to think of something else, the words die on the page.
You got to love that one, man. You got to love that one. And see, what you just did in this 2 minutes. Wiped away 20 minutes of doubt or devil's advocate. I'm breaking balls and teaching.
Yeah, just shift the perspective a little bit.
But the relationship you're describing with your father is a relationship that a young man, too young to be a father, is currently building with his son and daughter. And you've just given him examples that his children are going to repeat years from now. And that's all we got to do. All we got to do is let the good news go as fast as the bad. All we got to do is go around and say, hey, you know Jesus black. That's it.
Biggest smile.
You know he's black. That's it. When you see somebody say, hey, you know he's black. And just smile and walk away. And go smile just like you did. Go smile just like you did. My man. A man came from Negro land to lay his hands on me. Glory, glory to God. Glory, glory to me. We're going to start a new spiritual. We're going to start our own church, nigga. Me and you. My man.
That's right.
See, that's more powerful than anything.
That's a fact. Mike, how was it coming up with the Dungeon family? That's
I was a fan just like y'all. I didn't come up with them. I'm from the west side.
Okay.
I'm not from Southwest East Point of College Park. I'm from the west side, so it's a little different. When you see the way, like God bless, when what my man said, he said, I got the search you come here. I said, well, I'm gone. Y'all have a nice night.
Right.
It's just certain things I'm not, because my side of town a little more, T.I.'s behavior. You know what I mean? Dro. You know what I'm saying? Fabo. You know what I mean? We're a little more in your faces. So, you know what I mean? So, the Dungeon family, niggas like where I came from, hey, nigga, y'all a little too, hey. Chill that nigga shit out, nigga. Yeah. Me and Rico Wade will bump heads sometimes. Rico's like, yeah. And Rico serves as the voice of Atlanta through the album. Big Bro is he's the one, when he says right before Spaceship View, he said, I thought they were working, their parents shooting a little son, or they maybe thought they were selling dope. They were selling dope. That was my neighborhood he was talking about here. I was Big Boy's little brother's little homie, and he heard me and showed some interest and said,
how did y'all meet, you and Big Boy?
Nasilo Reddick, who's known as Teeth Malloy, is half of the Beat Bullies, who produced Kryptonite. And they produced for The Millionaire, they produced for me, they produced for Janelle. They tried to work with Janelle. I don't know if they ever got it, but they were just dope. And he since went on to move to the tech world, him and Millionaire. But CeeLo was Big's best friend when in Savannah, man. They grew up together as friends. And James and me and Rock D the Legend and Fast Black, God bless the dead, wanted to be rappers. And Big just let his little brother's friends hang out. And his boy CeeLo, he said he had a guy named Killer Mike he needed to hear, and he let him hear me, and he gave me a shot. Now the shot he gave me, when he gave me the shot, I got on Snap and Trapping. He sent me in the studio to rap. The engineer didn't know he had left the speaker on. This is why you got to take A lot of times people say, niggas hating on me. Man, you need to be encouraged sometimes. It's like you playing football, somebody need to try to stop you from running the ball in the end zone. That's how you toughen up. But I remember, man, he went in, he left the thing in. Man, I never forget from the back row. And I'm tighting this dude today. Man, I said, man, who this fat ass nigga you got in the booth, man? Man, this nigga know about it. No, the nigga, this whole nigga, west side ass nigga, man, when I came out that goddamn booth, though, man, that college ball nigga had shut the fuck up. Like, the whole room was silent. Because I knew I had laid it down. And ever since then, I was locked in. And that's how I got, brought into the Dungeon family. But proud to be a part, proud of what Rico and Pat and Ray built and organized Noise in the Dungeon family. Proud of what Outkast and Goody Mob and EJ the Witch Doctor and Cool Breeze have given us, you know what I'm saying, Kilo Ali. I'm proud to be a part of that lineage. I'm proud to have, when me and Cuz was working on a record, Ray walked in, he say, this thing, man, it got to be distinctly Southern. It got to be some Atlanta shit. And he said, it got to be as cohesive as the Chronic. And then he just walked out on us. You know what I mean? And me and Cuz sitting at the table like, shit. That certainly took the expectations a little higher than we, you know what I'm saying? Not yet. At least that's the Chronic. And when you put this album on, you hit play and you walk away. And 53 minutes later, you like, wow. So mission accomplished. But
no, you did that. You absolutely. Even the story, even if somebody didn't come from your part of town and have your point of view.
Yeah.
Even being able to tell the story as lyrical as you did, counts for something.
Yeah.
And you got to be able to compete with, maybe competing is the wrong word, but hip hop is competitive. There's a gang of albums out there that you mention your album next to.
It's pugilistic poetry.
Yeah, and we're competing out here. Like, so if you're got this frame of like, if people are painting you like now the Southern Biggie who's been under everybody's nose all this time, and you've produced this album, solo album, that now speaks to that qualifies you for that conversation, you have to be able to compete with these other legendary albums that are out now.
Yeah, I'm doing that easily.
Did you always know you had it in you to do that?
Absolutely. I made Ric Flair. I told a story on Deuces Wild that's comparable to any story that Slick Rick, Biggie, or Scarface has done. I've been who I am. I was playing in Portland. Nobody was watching the goddamn games. You know what I'm saying? I was playing in Seattle in the middle of the night. But I've been knew who I was. Yeah, I've been who I was. It was about figuring out how to show the world the best representation. How to get in there and pick the beats. Like when me and Cuz went in, Cuz said, we playing the beat, Cuz if you ain't doing that within first 20, 30 seconds, Cuz we not even doing it. We're not even playing with the shit. See, at first I try to accommodate. I try to fit. Now, fuck all that. I just got to the point where it was my money. You can't tell me what to fucking do. I ain't got no record company sending me no goddamn beat suggesting shit. Yeah, it was just my money. So I do what the fuck I want to do. And I had to learn that my instincts were good enough to trust. I had to learn to rock with the people I really trusted, not the people told me to trust. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and once I got that, it's as easy as pie. But the show, like you hear me on features, man, I ain't never showed up on no feature and not showed out. I ain't never played on no goddamn features, man. I don't give a fuck. You got me with Black Thought and Pusha T one day. You know what I mean? You can have me over here with a local joker MC who rocking my city right now, Young Boot. Got the next day, if I'm rapping with somebody as young as Boot, one day rocking with Black Thought and Pusha T the other day, showing up with Jay them 10, 13 years ago doing my thing. I always showed up in the All-Star games. It was just, boy, I was playing in a part of the country where nobody watching. People looking over me, looking around me. First it was the snap movement and the prompt movement, and they looking for all that shit. And I rapped through all the movements. I'm still here. So my figure, if I'm gonna be here, let me give you the best thing that could possibly happen this year. Let me give you an autobiographical look on being Black and Southern and masculine for men and the women that love them. In a time that the maturity is gonna be appreciated. In a time where I ain't looking down, I ain't preaching on that motherfucker, I ain't telling you wrong, I'm telling you about my wrongs. This is where I done fucked up at. I'm sure you done fucked up too. You feel me? That's what I did, and I knew it was time for that.
Mike, speaking of, not to cut you off, speaking of features, right? You got a feature with Young Thug.
Yeah, man. Right? Love it.
Were y'all together in the studio?
Yeah, we camped out for 2 weeks with Thug. We camped out, and I really got a chance to see him as a leader. And he had already been somebody, man, I could call upon. Like when we did the Black Banking Challenge, had people pivot their money out of major banks into black banking institutions like Citizen Trust stuff. Thug was one of the first people to show up. Him, Tip, Dolph showed up. Right. You know what I mean? Rest in peace, God bless our dead. Thug, man, Thug had never had a bank account at the time. Right. I was like, man, this is amazing. So when people try to say he didn't say anything on that too, it irks me because when he said thinking the same but ain't banking the same. Like he thinking the same. He like all this shit, we wearing all this, but he's not banking. He's really giving you game. Right. You just don't want to see it. Right. When he says, you know, getting the kids out the trenches, we gonna return on a yacht boat. I just got a vision of what if the triangle, the transatlantic slave trade went in reverse. What if we take these Carnival cruise lines, put all our babies on them and take them back home? Just you gotta be deep enough to understand the depth of what he was saying without trying to be deep and think because you talk hoity-toity and you went to one of these big HBCUs like me and shit, somehow that puts you above a nigga that understands that I can't think and bank the same as I used to. Right. That if I had my ultimate wish, I would return these beautiful black children to the original, to their homeland. You missed that. Right. Because you came with your prejudice and all your fucked up shit. That's why I say you got to look in the mirror. Mike, you clean all that shit up.
Are you ready to be? Are you accepting your position
as
a leader?
I'm dope, and I'm going to the blue flame. You know what I mean? I'm gonna give a great show in Harlem. I'm gonna give a great show in Philly. I'm gonna read some James Baldwin on the back of my bus. I'm gonna laugh and thank God I escaped the life of selling dust, and I'm gonna be a good example to my family because you know I've seen what we do to our qualified leaders. They usually dial the bullet in their chest and their head, and we give them a holiday. And we act like we cried, and then we let white politicians use them, you know, as fodder to get us to vote for policy that don't help us. So I don't have the confidence, because we only been free 60 years. I don't have the confidence that we ready to do some of the things that we are ready to do and that we should ask any one person to die for us. I think we should all be willing to die for a greater cause that's our great-grandchildren and beyond. And if we're willing to die for them, why not be willing to live for them? And 1 million of us give $10 a month and say that this $10 million fund a month is going to be toward enacting these things in these places. Why don't we do that? Why don't we try to do that? You know, I do my part. Like in Atlanta, I raise hell, I step on the soapbox. But I need somebody doing it in Harlem. I need somebody doing it in Tampa. We need somebody doing it. Me and Bigga gonna go down to Birmingham, start our church. You know what I mean? We go to the church and the strip club, same block. You know what I mean? All the dancers gonna pray. Ain't nobody gonna have them girl raw, but I think it's gonna take all of us. I don't think it's just up to Mike. I don't think it's just up to you. I know Bigga passionate, but I won't want Bigga out there by himself. I think that we all have to do if we all do a little bit, nobody have to do a lot. If we all, I tell my barbers, if you take care of your station is clean and beautiful and ready for presentation for a customer to come in. If we always TV ready, TV gonna keep coming. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we have to get in our mentality. What is the little bit I can do to contribute to the cause of the greater good of black folks? Because if we do a little bit, that means you ain't taking so much from yourself, you start to resent your people. You know what I mean? If we do a little bit.
Stop people from rapping.
Stop people from rapping?
I probably would. That'd be my contribution.
You would stop people from rapping?
Stop a lot of people from rapping. They're terrible at it.
It's people that's terrible at jiu-jitsu. It's people that's terrible at fighting, but they show up and stay healthy. They may never get a fight in their life. But that's gonna help them stay healthy. You can do.
That's their culture. I'm talking about mine.
Yeah, the market is gonna be talking about mine. Yeah, I don't want to. Because maybe if you want to rap, man, rap if you're good at it. Rap if you're good at it, bro. Maybe if you get the fuck out the way, Killer Mike's album will go #1. No.
Maybe that.
You know what? Outkast's album didn't go #1. Took Outkast's album first time 2 years ago platinum. But over that 2 years, they built a fan base. I would love to wake up and be #1. I want to walk away with a handful of trophies in February, whenever the Grammys is. Because this is my miseducation moment. Facts. You know what I'm saying? I want to walk away. But what I really want is what I've been getting the last month. And that's black men saying, Mike, thank you. I worked out to it this morning. I feel it in my, it's black women saying, I had to bring them to your concert. I had to make sure we came to church together. It's seeing that. That's what really matters. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't see Too Short going or winning, but here he is 30 years later.
Facts.
I didn't see E40 going and winning. I saw, man, one of my favorite players, Rasheed Wallace, tried to clown 40 Wallace. 40 Wallace still here, looking younger than Rasheed. God bless, no hate on that. Just saying, like, man, I want to lead. I want to run the marathon. Brad Jordan been dropping dope music since 1987.
Can I explain to you why I said that?
I'll listen.
It's only one reason.
I'll listen.
Because my concern is the culture.
I understand.
And if your album goes number one,
Yeah.
it signals a shift in the
But
culture.
it can go number one.
I definitely think it can.
Yeah, we just got to keep telling people.
I also think it should.
Yeah.
However, if that happens, we can get a shift in culture to where the talent starts to rise to the top.
Yeah.
Over the gimmicks.
Yeah.
Over the marketing. Maybe Killer Mike doesn't need marketing because the talent is so dope. Because
Well,
the
I like
album
marketing
is so
too.
fire.
I will say that.
I'm not mad at nothing.
It's cool
However,
seeing yourself in Times Square. You know what I mean? Your goddamn, your wife a little more friendly that night. All kind of cool shit happen, man. You know, just you get up so you can see yourself 40 feet. Like I told you, little bitch. You know,
I would like to get more talented brothers those moments.
it's gonna happen.
Off the strength of their talent,
Yeah, it's
not
gonna-
just because.
Now that means that you got to keep yelling about it publicly the next 6 months. That means you got to tell your homeboys who on the Grammy committee, hey, Fat Boy deserve that Grammy. Let's get him in there. That means you got to keep making noise. You got to be like a you know what I want for Killer Mike supporters? Be like Dallas Cowboy fans. Cheer for me even when I'm goddamn losing, man. Cheer. Play that goddamn big blue star. You know a Dallas Cowboy fan? Total assholes ain't they? Right? Love them to fucking death though, right? Anywhere you goddamn go, he go that silver, that blue. You think it's a Crip convention. Right? but that ain't go. They
Stephen
never
A.
gonna-
Smith having a
They
fit
never
right
gonna
now.
stop believing, man. You know what I mean? So I need y'all to be like that. And we'll get to number one and beyond.
Well, you keep winning, we'll keep cheering.
All right, my man.
How about
my man.
that?
Yo,
Get-
you got some real notable features on that album, and one in
Yeah.
particular is Andre. You got Andre 3000 and Future on the same track.
Yeah.
How did that Andre? Because you featured on Outkast stuff before.
Yeah.
In the past, but
I
this
showed
is-
out every feature.
And you
too.
showed
I
out,
went
yes,
crazy. Every
absolutely.
feature.
But this is the first time that you got Andre
Andre.
to feature on your.
Yeah,
project.
he told me no a lot over the years. And now, like, he would say, man, the song hard, Kill, I just ain't into rapping right now. I mean, just break my heart every time. I mean, like,
Oh, man.
I tried to get on the Run the Jewels, you know what I mean?
Right.
He like, man, y'all, he came out to see us. Him and Big Boy would come out to the show, but I couldn't get him on nothing. And this time I didn't go with no expectations. I didn't even go out wanting. I just wanted him. What Andre, Big Boy, and a woman named Regina Davenport, who now works with David Banner.
Oh, salute to Regina Davenport and David Banner.
What they mattered to me because they were the three people that believed in me from day one. So I always let them hear the music, Big and Dre in particular. And when I let Dre hear it, he told me he loved the record, and then he said, well, can I come back tomorrow and bring some shit? I'm like, nigga, hell yeah. Fuck, you talking about bring that flute, nigga, bring a saxophone, I'm gonna bring a trombone, nigga, let's do something. And he brought some records, man. 2 records we picked, one he took back and he swapped out. We got another. We got something else in the future that's crazy, but he brought the record, and man, I sat there and I'm just like, oh, this shit's dope. And then the next thought was like, what the fuck are you gonna do to this shit? Because you know that it's quirky. You know, his rap style is quirky, the beat was quirky. But he called, and him and Bear Low helped get Future on there. We got Future on there. And then I sat back like, okay, Fat Boy, you got to do your thing. You got to say, well, what would Big Boy do? And the beauty of Outkast is the melodies and the intricacies and quirkiness of flows was Dre, but the patterns. When you listen to Big Boy's patterns,
It's crazy.
Wayne has used Big Boy patterns. Kendrick has used Big Boy patterns. Numerous young people who didn't even know they was using his patterns because they had emulated Wayne and Kendrick used his patterns, and I have used his patterns. His patterns are just some of the most beautiful, like even in the hooks, me and you, your mama and your cousin too, riding through the strip.
And you can hear that in Good Kid, Good Kid, Mad
Yeah,
City.
man.
You can hear that
So
a lot.
Big Boy's influence often gets understated. But I'm gonna tell you, as an influence on me, I sit with it and I study that motherfucker. That good rapping asshole son of a bitch. Yo. That motherfucker gave the game more than a Houston Astros jersey in the throwback game. You know, part of the reason I'm wearing this jacket today because of Big Boy. Like he brought that. Like Kanye said, he literally brought that. But he brought patterns, man. So I'm listening to this shit like, I do one, I don't like it. I do another one, I don't like it. Cuz say, maybe you should try this pattern. I tried all like. We went through about 6, 7 patterns, and then that shit hit me. And it hit me. And what was crazy is Cuz it was patient walking down the whole way, because he knew it was gonna come out of me. He just knew I had to get the garbage out. He and Will, who's my manager, who's like, loves music too. But when that pattern locked in, oh, it was over. You know what I'm saying? Oh man, music computers and robbers and looters with shooters and shooters with rulers and shooters with rulers. CDs with my tutor. My tutor taught me a terrible miracle. You can lie, cheat, and still kill in America. Be celebrated like Captain America. Fuck it, I'm with it. Let's get it. This nigga and niggers and Bentley that laying in Linux. When I said that, I was like, I'm out of here. I'm out of here. I'm out of here. You know what I mean? I knew I had locked the gift, and I said, I got him.
But you know what's crazy? When I first heard the record, 2 days ago, well, yesterday, I was like, it reminded me of the record you did with Outkast and the whole world.
Yeah.
That pattern. That rhyme pattern. Play your I grind, my focus is crime. I roll with the rhyme, I sleep with the slime. I roll like a diamond that come out of mine. And I was like, oh shit, this is very nostalgic. This verse.
Well, it doesn't sound like, but it is a pattern-based thing. Like my thing is, you know, you have to adjust, because rap is competitive and rap is style. So I learned that from KRS-One, man. That man had styles. That man had styles, man. He'll switch up a flow on you. You know what I mean? If you look at talking that shit, 3 different beats, 3 different flows, styles. I have one of the best all-around games in rap, period. I'm an elite storyteller. I'm an elite lyricist. I can elitely do different styles within one song. And if you don't believe me, just go listen to the catalog. Listen to God in the Building. Listen to Deuces Wild. Listen to Ric Flair. You hear a fat black rapping ass motherfucker, man. You know what I mean? Like you know, and so I'm glad that people have finally opened their ears to me, because now I'm hoping that they'll go on the wormhole and say, wow, how did I sleep? I had so many people say,
now.
like, how did I sleep? Because now I got to outdo this. And that's what I love. Now I've set a marker for myself that I have to outdo. And I'm excited about what's next. We've already started working on the next.
Nice.
I hope you influence the cats behind you to want to keep that same level of excellence.
Well, the only way we do that is keep making noise about it. So the people that feel passionately about it, keep making noise about it. Keep telling people about it. Buy it and send it to them. The vinyl comes out and the CDs come out September 15th. Buy it. I believe you really can't own nothing. My granddaddy told me this about women. He said, hey.
Wow.
Hey.
Okay.
He said, hey, let me tell you something. You can't own nothing you can't put in a cup and measure. And I ain't seen pussy bottled yet. And that's when I understood, well, I can't own a woman. Because Lord knows I can't put in a ball and measure, so she's free to come and go as she wants. She's a human being just like me. So I believe if you can't physically hold it, you can't own it. So with all the people streaming, I appreciate the downloading on your phone, but what if they hit the switch on us one day? Man, you better go get that DVD player back in your car. That's right. You better go get that record player. Have something you can own. Because sometimes we can say some shit, man, and all of a sudden it disappears. Like certain mixtapes just disappear. So I'm still a buyer of old school stuff. I still like the CD, because I drive old school cars. I like the records because I got a record player in the house. So, you know.
Well, you come from that.
But I'm just saying, if you don't come from that era, like, you better own it. You better make sure you can hold it, because otherwise, baby, it ain't in the cup. It's on her. You got to ask her for it. It is her choice to say yeah or nay, my bro.
You keep giving me all these drop the mic moments.
Hey, man. Them old men, man. Them old men at the stove.
I just want to see the album do well. Hopefully the generation
again.
Hopefully because right now we're so much more entertained by nonsense than we are talent.
Yeah.
You know, somebody can go viral just by being extra ratchet and doing something dumb. Meanwhile, fat black dude from the South is rapping his ass off, and people look past that to go to the other.
But finally they not passing.
Right.
You know, like I got a call before I came over here. Scientists and engineers is rising in streams. You know, and I need, this is what I want. Remember how we had to go get that Eazy-E or that Tribe Called Quest album? Like, I don't give a fuck what happened. I would get to school an hour late just so I could hit Third World Records and be the first person to walk in with it. All my 35, 45, 55 years, I need y'all to act like that about it. If you really feel like that about it. Have a listening party. Invite 10 of your partners over, buy some beer, buy some hot dogs and chips, whatever, and say, man, we just gonna listen to this shit, dog. You know, like I need you to organize. If you feel like that about it, I needed some, Jesus needed disciples. Nigga, don't just let me die on this cross by myself. You know what I mean? I need some help, man.
I'm stopping right there, Mike.
Hey, man, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all.
We appreciate you. We salute you. Mike, many more.
I love and appreciate y'all. Great. Love, chat. Love. Thank you so much.
Let's get these photos.
I appreciate y'all.
Hello.
Bigger, we gonna start that turf now.
Love you, brother. Love you.
It's hot trapper turn smack rapper. Only smack rapper that you know is smack rappers. Got bars, I can hang with the backpackers. Trap star, I don't hang with the backpackers. I'm in the hood with the work you heard. Making fiends leave earth you heard. Got your baby mama thirst you heard. Feel the flow, nigga, throw it in reverse. This the way you need to surf you heard.